accountability and defending your rights against the police specifically, and the government generally, are difficult and dangerous tasks. Your right to watch the government and record what you see is a natural right that is protected by the Constitution, and it cannot be taken away by the government.
You guys just filming, or?
What's that?
Oh, I don't answer questions.
Yep. What's that?
Oh, I don't answer questions.
Oh, I just want to make sure.
Please stand back. I don't feel safe with you around, man. You got guns, you're armed to the teeth. Please stand back. I don't feel safe.
Okay.
This is close enough.
You're fine there. I just wanted to see who you were.
Just filming.
Appreciate it, but yeah, we're just doing a legal activity, filming, expressing our freedom. We appreciate to be left alone.
No, you're good.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a good night, guys.
Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another video. While this is another cop watching video, this is a little different than the ones I've done in the past. Over the past year, I've put out less content and have been focusing on educating myself so that I'm more effective in what I do. I want to be better at educating the masses to what these order followers do. I'm not silly enough to think one video or exchange will change the mind of an order follower or the sheeple. But if I can at least make them think about the situation from a different, very real and truthful angle, then I'm being effective. It's not easy to overcome cognitive dissonance, especially when it challenges your core beliefs about the society we live in. The reality is, these order-following enforcement gangs of the state impose their master's will on us all in an effort to steal and extort more money than they already do. They do this using intimidation, threats of violence, overwhelming shows of force, and even confinement to a cage for non-compliance. Officer Tyler exposes why they're called order followers. As he says, he's just doing what he's told. See, Officer Tyler doesn't think about the ethics involved with his job. He just accepts his programming that government is necessary and keeps our society civilized. Listen to my conversation with him and tell me who you think is more civilized. Me, the guy who advocates for a system where all interactions are voluntary, or order follower Tyler, who is an enforcement agent for a system that makes up arbitrary rules and threatens violence against those who don't comply. I hope you gained something from this video and my first time exposing the unethical and violent nature of our civilized society in this way. Make sure you hit the like button, share this video with everyone you know, and subscribe to the channel here, as well as BitChute and DTube or Steam it. If you want to support the work I do, links to the merchandise store and other platforms are in the description. Oh yeah, and one last thing. Check out the links to find Mark Passio and his breakdown of the order follower truth. He has tons of content on it and breaks it down like no one else.
We just have a tow truck coming.
Hey, could we check your BAC just in case?
I'm sorry?
We check your BAC just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just want to make sure,
You got a busy night for you guys, or?
Not really.
No? No.
We'd like some more business. Anything good happening?
Not tonight, actually. It's been,
What is the Sheriff's Department's restriction of Channel 1 on?
Where was it at? I have no idea, honestly.
We just want to restrict it and just get ready to go off and people go off. They never find out. I think it was out in the valley, but
They never called me for it, so I don't know. Don't know what they got going on.
cops are probably filming them out there. We'll see it in a few months.
Yeah, I think cops is riding them right now. They don't come in the city anymore, so I haven't seen it. But
We actually had a couple of deputies be nice to us tonight and not shining their spotlights in our eyes.
oh, there you go.
It's kind of a shock. You know, we're doing a legal protected activity.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
going to cause any problems.
Yeah, no, you're good. I haven't caused me any problems.
We try to stand back out of the way and get what we get.
No, I got nothing wrong with that. I've been on camera, body camera, and car camera and stuff my whole career, so one more camera never hurt me.
I know, and that's when you have nothing to hide. You don't care about it. Some people have things to hide that they don't want to camera. Whether it's at that moment or just in general, have something to hide.
Yeah. Video is always good.
And more video, the better. Oh, my friend in Australia says he smells weed.
Uh-oh.
Can you check to see if your car's got weed in it?
You could, but...
Even though it's legal here in Washington?
Yeah.
We still might have to do that field sobriety.
We didn't do much up here, yeah. No, it's all good. We got a tow truck coming, but this, unfortunately, about the most excitement of my night, I think, so.
You get another
Well, that's a good thing.
What's that?
So that's a good thing. If this is the most excitement of your night,
I'm
you're not
happy with
taking
that.
people to cages or threatening them with violence or anything. That's good.
Yeah, I don't need that if I don't need it, so.
So, do they have any cars left?
I'm sure we've got spare cars somewhere.
Oh, you guys were down quite a few.
Yeah, we still are. We had quite a number of
Surprised you don't
them.
have somebody riding with you.
We're getting there. There's
That's
a couple of guys.
Poco, right?
Yep.
Surprised he doesn't have somebody with him.
Well, they kind of do their own thing. They do pictures and stuff.
So I was just curious. You said you don't threaten people with violence unless they need it. Like, what do you consider needing it?
I mean, that's kind of a complicated question.
Well, I mean, I don't know. If someone's driving, let's say, what's the speed limit out here? 30 on this road? So if someone's like driving 35 miles an hour, is that worth the threat of violence?
Threat of violence?
Yeah, if someone's driving 35 miles an hour down this, is that worth the threat of violence, or is it 36? What's the cutoff there?
We could stop them for it. I don't know if I...
But so stop, I mean, that's a threat of violence, right?
I mean, that's kind of a philosophical question. I mean, that's
But it's the truth.
the
I mean,
concept of government.
if they don't stop, you're gonna like take them out with your car. You're gonna use a pit maneuver. You're gonna do something to make sure they stop, right?
Potentially, but
I mean, even if you let someone go, like I read the papers, I read police reports, even if you let someone go, you're still going to try to find them later. You have their license plate number, all this stuff to track them with, so you're still going to track them down later.
we'll look for them. Yeah.
So, and if they don't comply, eventually you're going to use force against them. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you said you don't threaten force, but anytime you turn on your cherries and berries, that's a threat of force, man.
Okay.
It's coercing us to, it's intimidation. I mean, like I said, you're armed to the teeth.
Yeah, I mean,
So I mean, it's an intimidation factor to get us to cooperate with you when we don't really have to for any reason necessarily.
sure.
I mean, there's a,
That's I mean, that's like I said, that's kind of a philosophical, political.
well, I mean, it's law though. Like, so for example, what do you think gives you the right to pull someone over?
Well, it's kind of the role of government, right?
Well, but where? So yeah, government is, the laws are all like pieces of paper that have statutes written on them, right? So can you tell me the statute number that says that because I'm in the jurisdiction, the boundaries of the city of Spokane, that its laws, the municipal codes and all that apply to me?
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. No.
Well, but isn't that what you're using? You're saying you have jurisdiction over people. So if you can't cite the actual code that says that you have jurisdiction, it seems like you shouldn't be able to threaten violence and pull people over.
The traffic law is state law. So.
Well, yeah, so can you tell me the state code then, the actual number, the RCW number, like 68.08.65, saying that you guys aren't supposed to drive these except for certain things? You know, that's a law, so it has a number. So there's got to be a number saying that you guys have jurisdiction over me just because I'm inside the borders of the state of Washington, these imaginary lines.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was asking them if they could hear.
Oh, no. I get you.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. These are lines drawn on a piece of paper that say this is the state of Washington, and all these laws apply to the state. But where does it say that because I'm inside those imaginary lines, that those laws all apply to me? Like, what's that statute number?
I don't have.
It's because it doesn't exist. You can't find it. It doesn't exist, man. So you guys claim to have jurisdiction over us. You threaten violence over us. You've gotten us to just obey you because you have I mean, how many weapons do you have on you right now?
I mean, it may be that, but like I said, I don't mean to. I'm not trying to belittle it or anything, but you're kind of coming at the bottom of the totem pole.
Well, I understand, but you're told okay, if they do this, they got to do this. Did you ever question, well, what gives me the right to do that over them?
Well, this is the state of Washington commissions us.
But what gives you the jurisdiction over me just because I'm in this area? What's that statute number?
Well, that's the commission that we get through the state of Washington.
No, you get the commission to enforce. You get the commission to enforce laws.
Sure.
But what I'm saying, in order for you to have jurisdiction over me, there has to be a statute that says, okay, by being a person or by existing inside these lines, then you fall under the jurisdiction of said law enforcement officer. But there's no statute that nobody can tell me of a statute that says that.
I couldn't tell you. I don't have a law
And then,
degree.
so the other thing to shoot a hole in your whole concept there is, so if I had, let's say I had diplomatic immunity, then all these laws, I can drive 38 down that road, and you can't do anything to me because I have diplomatic. So you guys get to pick and choose who you apply the laws to based on what your masters tell you, and then you follow the orders.
It comes from the government.
Yeah, you follow the orders of what they tell you, right?
Just like everybody else.
So, but like I said, you don't think for yourself and think, why do these laws apply to these people? Just because they're actually made to enforce on corporations and government workers, yourselves, to make sure that you guys are held in check. That's actually what the laws are created for. We've let corporations lobby our government and make it so they turn the laws on us, but they're actually for you guys. So,
That could be, but I think
well, there's actual statutes that apply to you guys, but there's not statutes that says that it applies to me just for existing within these imaginary lines.
Okay.
I know, yeah, right.
Like I said, I don't have a law degree or anything.
Well, I don't have a law degree either, man. It's just, I mean, you just look this stuff up. It's available anywhere. But like, for example, with the RCW, with the unmarked vehicles, one of the biggest problems I have is I know it's a little bit iffy with municipalities and the state, or the counties, the sheriffs, because they have it says in the RCW that like the chief or the sheriff can ask for special permission from their governing body.
Correct.
But the Washington State Patrol, it doesn't say that anywhere, but I always see them, and like, you guys, you're supposedly enforcing laws. You're supposed to enforce it on them. Nobody ever pulls one of them over for their unmarked cars, and they're not allowed to have them.
The RCW does actually gives the chief of the state patrol.
Yeah, for traffic control. It says, so what it spells out. So if first of all, if a law is going to say there's exemptions, and then at the very end say, oh, you can exempt anything, that's kind of silly. So that's not what it says. What it says is, just like for police and sheriffs, it says for undercover and investigative work. So like detectives or undercover people. And then, but like I said, for me,
Or at the discretion of the chief of the state.
it says traffic control vehicles, which this is enforcement. Control is the yellow lights that say, oh, you got to move over into this lane. So it says those vehicles specifically, any of those vehicles can be exempt by the chief. But it says nothing about traffic enforcement, any traffic. It only specifically for Washington State Patrol says that the traffic control can be exempted by the chief for any reason. But
What's your question?
so why is it when I see these traffic enforcement that aren't undercover or investigative work, when I see them out here, why aren't you guys pulling them over and writing tickets? That's a gross misdemeanor. It's a $5,000 fine and up to a year in jail.
Well, that's something that would have to go through the court, but we don't. That's not our prerogative.
So because the court's not going to enforce it because it's on the people that enforce its laws, you don't do it. But on me, if I drove a car illegally without it being marked properly or something like that, you'd pull me over and threaten me with violence and take me to a court, right?
If you were
Because
officer?
No, let's say, I mean, what are the requirements to drive a car in the state of Washington? Don't you have to have it licensed or something like that?
Yeah.
So if you don't have it registered and licensed, if I don't have that done properly and have them displayed properly, you guys are potentially going to pull me over, threaten violence against me. If I don't comply, you're going to throw me in a cage, fine me some money, stuff like that. Whereas it's the same issue. That person didn't mark their car properly, the Washington State Patrol trooper. But you're just letting them off the hook because they're a law enforcement officer, but the law still applies to them.
Well, I think there's a little bit of ambiguity in the law.
No, there's not with Washington State Patrol. You should read it yourself, because with Washington State Patrol, it's very specific.
It's kind of a pretty hotly debated thing.
So what do you think the law was created for?
I'm sorry?
What do you think having police officers mark their car and specifically talk about police in that RCW, what law enforcement, what do you think that law is for?
I don't know.
It's to protect the public, because people can put light bars in their cars and make them look like this really easy and pull us over. It happens all the time, and make us think they're a cop and steal money from us just like you guys do, but it's not actually a cop. We're just complying because we think it's a cop. So it's for public safety, but you guys use these cars to extort more money from us.
Like I said, that's a debate that a lot of people are having, and I don't mean to, like I said, I don't mean to belittle that or anything, but I'm not the guy to take it up.
I know, but you're the guy out here enforcing it. That's the problem. Enforcing laws on us that you're not enforcing on other people.
I'm one of them out here, but
but that's so. Don't you understand why? I mean, how that looks so silly, and someone like me would say, well, this is ridiculous. You're applying laws that first of all you can't even show me where you have jurisdiction over me to apply those laws. You can't even tell me that statute. Yet you're going over other stuff.
Like the chief or somebody higher than me.
Well, I don't have to, because if you guys write me a ticket, I'll take it up with the judge in court that you guys didn't have jurisdiction over me. But it's a waste of my time. You guys should just know that you can't do that. It's a waste of my time to have to go to court, all that kind of stuff. You guys don't care. You get paid either way.
That's what the court's there for.
Well, I know, but if you don't have jurisdiction over me in the first place, I'm trying to educate you so you don't just write tickets that don't deserve to be written. If you can find the statute, then you can write the ticket. But if you can't find the statute that says just because I'm existing in these imaginary lines that you have jurisdiction over me, then you shouldn't be writing the ticket. That's all I'm saying. I know you don't have answers for what I'm saying, man, so that's fine, because it's too logical. It has, it's based on ethics and freedom and stuff like that, and being responsible for ourselves, not having other people watch over us like masters. It's what real freedom is. I'll let you go, man. I gave you a hard enough time. Thanks for being a good sport.
Yeah, it's all good.
What's your name?
Officer Tyler.
Tyler, all right. I'm Corey. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We appreciate that you're shining your spotlight.
I need that. No, you guys have been cool with me, and you guys want to do your thing. It's all good.
No ill will or ill intent.
Order follower Tyler clearly doesn't think for himself and doesn't care about the lack of ethics his job entails. He even admitted himself he does what his superiors tell him to, and when I questioned the ethics involved with his job, he told me to take it up with the chief of police to change what he is told to do. He is a law enforcement program, just like an NPC or a non-player character in a video game. Order follower Tyler does what his programming tells him to. He doesn't think about whether his actions are ethical or how his job restricts the freedoms of others through the constant threat of violence against the non-compliant. If you want to see the full unedited version of this video, go check it out over on 420RU2's channel. Links to his channel and this video are in the description. If you believe all cops are NPCs or order followers, support my channel and work by grabbing a mug or a t-shirt from the merchandise store with my Cops equals NPCs design, or choose from any of my other freedom-inspired merchandise. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the like button and share it with everyone you know. Find us on Twitter, as well as censorship-free platforms like BitChute and Steemit or DTube. Of course, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to smile at someone you don't know every day.